Welcome to Brandon Hall Group's HCMx Radio, the only podcast in the HCM arena that weaves current market research, HR technology, and industry leaders into each episode. Our HCMx Radio host is our Chief Operating Officer and Principal HCM Analyst, Rachel Cook.
Hi, and welcome to Brandon Hall Group's HCMx Radio podcast. I'm Rachel Cook, the host of our podcast and also the COO at Brandon Hall Group. I am excited to be here today. I have joining me Michael Rochelle, our Chief Strategy Officer and one of the principals here at Brandon Hall Group. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hey there.
And then we also have with us Mike Martin, the Head of Customer Experience and Training at SAP Litmos. And it's so nice to have Mike back with us. We were just chatting before our episode today. It's been a while. I know Mike's been engaged with you, Michael, and other members here at Brandon Hall Group, but it's been a while that we've connected. So, and he's always been so great at our conferences. He always has something interesting to say. And so before we talk about what we're going to dive into, which is he's going to be sharing some information from a recent study that you guys did and at SAP Litmos with some of your customers to understand and gather some information from your learners about motivation and content and access to learning. And so you have some really interesting nuggets to share. And before we dive into the topic, again, welcome, Mike. It's so nice to have you. And I'd love for our listeners and viewers here today to get to know you a little bit better. Some of you listening in or viewing us may know you, but for those of you that don't, what else would you like to share about who you are and why you are so passionate about what you do?
Well, thanks, Rachel. Awesome to be here. I've missed the family. It's really great to see the two of you again and be on your show here. Yeah, I'm really excited to be talking about a few of the things that we've uncovered at a larger study at SAP with some of our customers. And what's interesting is that I don't want to bury the lead here or blow it, but you know, a lot of this stuff is stuff you probably already know, but maybe you're not practicing it to the level that you should, and we're just confirming some of the things that you think. So excited to be here and to be talking about that. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years. I started out doing ropes courses and team building and group development and working with those types of groups and on the soft skills stuff, and then moved into the instructional design side and now run a training department, but also a larger organization with our customer experience. So just great. I'm enthusiastic about learning and training. I kind of nerd out on this stuff, and I'm excited to share some of the things and to chat with Michael and Rachel about some of the things we're learning.
Fantastic. And so let's get started. Let's start with motivation. And what did you find, or what was new, or you know, what stood out from the survey that you did? You know, how do you motivate learners today?
Yeah, fantastic question to start with. And just to give you a little bit of context, Dr. Lauren Park is one of our, is like a resident organizational psychologist. So she did this study with some of our customers that we sat down with, and we do this every quarter. But we're really trying to get an idea of what they think, our customers think, is really important on the learning side. And she came up with these, what came out of the study was that these 6 different aspects of learning that people absolutely need that are core to it. And one of them is what you just mentioned on the learner side, which is motivation, right? So why do people want to learn, and why is that so important? Because really at the end of the day, you know, people are motivated by something that serves a purpose for them, that makes a difference in their life, right? That's really it, especially in this, is what we're finding out, is that if it makes a difference to them, it's something that can either they want, they need, whatever it is, it's going to push them forward in their career. It's going to give them a tool that they can use to adapt and overcome something. If it's going to give them an edge someplace, something that's relevant, right, is that, you know, they need to be motivated to learn. And we've tried all sorts of things in learning, right, Michael? I mean, you think about it, we have the carrot all the time, like giving different types of things, money and all of that, which we know is a motivator, but it's also like a quick one, right? It wears off quick. The half-life of money is pretty fast. You know, so what we want to do is really try to tap into internal and intrinsic motivation is what came out of this. And what we are identifying is that when people want to do something, they're fired up about it, then they're going to go a lot further than if I'm just trying to coax them into it. with anything, money or badges or buttons. Not that that stuff doesn't work and we use it and we love it. It's just, it works to a point, right? We want people to want to do what they're doing. And that's why what we found is that people are motivated best by an intrinsic purpose, when they're like, okay, I see myself, I can see how that helps me and satisfies a need for me, and they move forward on that.
Sure. And you brought up money a few times, and that's interesting. You think people will stay when you give them a raise, or you, and it's important, obviously, but we've also seen in our research that it's not, it's really not necessarily going to retain a person if they're not engaged, or if they don't find value in what they do, if they're disinterested in what, whatever it might be, the work, the culture. That is for sure something that's not going to just retain them, is just money.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think that holds out. I've seen that across my career. We see this in the people we talk to here at SAP. It's, people need to feel like they're growing and they're advancing. And I think that you go back to the studies when people talk about why people leave a job, and money is one of the things, but one of the big ones, they a direct conflict with their direct manager. But another one is that they feel stagnant. They don't feel like they're moving, or they're motivated to grow, or like they just feel like they're on the hamster wheel doing the Groundhog's Day every single day. It's the same over and over again until they figure out that they need to do something different. And that's where we come in with the learning. So we want to try to get people to that point, to be able to see, like us as learning practitioners need to focus in on that. Like, how can we make sure it's about more than that? Because some people are what we call coin operated, right? You put in the money and then they move, but eventually they'll stop until you put in more money, and that's okay. That's a way to do it, but I feel like that's kind of the quick drug, right? You just need, every time that you get it, you want more of it, and then it has to be at a larger scale, right? You get desensitized to it, much like that. So I'm not saying money's a bad motivator, because it's good. I mean, people love it. I love it. It makes the world go round. But I think for longevity and people wanting to really focus on their careers, in my personal opinion, and I think to what we're finding talking to our customers, that it's more about them connecting to the business in a way that they feel a part of it.
So how do
when I was
you?
Oh, go ahead, Rachel. Sorry.
No, I was gonna
chime in on the money thing, right? There was an old saying we had when I was in HR, that money lets you go to sleep at night, but it doesn't wake you up in the morning.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how we differentiated paying versus motivating people.
Right.
That's it. I'm out. That's my 2 cents.
You're dropping.
It's going to cost you a nickel just for that answer. So I am coin operated.
That was brilliant. So moving on to motivation or creating content, and what do you do, or how do you get people interested?
Yeah. So one of the other of the 6 that came out and was really around creating engaging content, which I feel like is one of those we've known for a really long time. And what's hard for me though is that I still look, and people who even think they're doing it well, you look and it's all text, and it's like a 45-minute course of reading. We have to do better. Or one that I found the other day, I got to tell you, I popped into it and it was all text, except for there were a couple different videos. One popped up, but it was all, it was a motion graphic, which was all right, but it was all read to me with like a automated voice, right? So they just did the text to voice, and it was just, you just phone it in. And I don't know about you, but like if I feel as the learner that I'm going to take my time and I'm going to get serious about it, I'm going to take it seriously, everyone else should too. And I don't know that is a way of just my opinion, if that's a way of showcasing that, right? Like I look at that and I go, okay, they definitely did the minimum requirement to get this to me, and that helps, that disconnects me personally a little bit from the learning. Again, not bagging on that. It's a way to do it, but I feel like we can do better. So what we found is creating engaging content. Could be anything, simply anything from, all of a sudden like some video pieces, but actually putting some passion into it, putting some work and effort into it. I think that's the missing ingredient that I'm seeing a lot now, is that we have 20,000 courses in the library, and it's like, but nobody wants to take any of them. It's not a quantity thing, it's a quality thing. And what I'm always stressing, and what we're seeing from our customers, that they want to be entertained. They want it to be novel, a little bit different, something that's memorable. And they want it to be ultra connected to what they're doing. super relevant, right? Like I don't know about you, but when I take a course or I have to on something that doesn't have any relation to my job, which I do from time to time, I'm just so disconnected because I don't see the point of it, right? So I think that that's another big piece that as we look through there is that using the tools, and I guess I would summarize this by saying all the same stuff that we've always talked about, using graphics and motion and video and audio and all that. The secret ingredient I would put in there is as effort. I would say a little bit of like, hey, get somebody to do something exciting. You know, like for us, we do this. We've done it for years now, but on our product release videos, right? Just the product release about what new features and functionality we come out. We do videos around that are playful and fun and have jokes and get people laughing, and people absolutely love that. But typically, what is a product release video or a product release? It's a PDF that has just what the updates of what's new in the product, right? We put a little more effort into it, and we've seen an incredible response from that. So it's stuff like that I feel like if you just go a little bit extra that they're not expecting is going to be that we want to encourage people to continue to look into.
So what is that little bit of effort that you did do that you saw made a difference?
Is it instead of it just being a PDF that went out to everybody in their inbox and that they ignored, it was a video that went out and then something that they talked about. I mean, there was one moment, you know, we have all sorts of different little moments that people are still from years ago were like, oh, I loved when you were standing there and you were doing the Costco bit and they you know, somebody was throwing you a bunch of paper towels from, you know, like rolls. Like they remember these things. They don't remember what was in at all that was in the video as far as product enhancements. They remember that though, and they're like, I like that. I like what they're doing, and that's what connects them to our business, right? Our personality. And I think that people need to realize that, right? We need to put more emphasis on that piece of it and not so much of just the product it's a whiz bang, can do it all, right? Yeah, that's great, but we want to make sure that people are connecting it to the business too. They're like, wow, we just want to be where you are, or like, we like this. So it was that little bit of effort to just make it, I mean, they're comedic and fun. So go on YouTube and search for product release from Litmus, and you'll see some of the videos that we've put together, and they're just fun. And I think that's a piece of it that we miss, right? Just trying, instead of just putting our heads down and barreling through and trying to get things done. It's like, I got to build this course. It's like, let's think about it a little bit more, and how can we add a little bit of flair and spice to it. I mean, one last thing on that topic, if I can, and I've used this before, but I think it's really great for your audience too, maybe, is that I look at it like making a stew or a soup, right? Like if we make a stew, the potatoes, the meat, we put it in all just the way it comes normally, and it'll be okay. I mean, it'll be bland, but it'll get the job done. It's sustenance, it's calories, it'll do what it's supposed to do, right? But now if we start adding some garlic and some peppers and some, you know, salt and pepper and oregano and all of these other things to it, then it becomes something that everyone wants to talk about. Really, that's the difference between somebody who makes something poorly, like a dish, and one of these, you know, Gordon Ramsay types. It's like it's the style in which they make it, and then the added spices and how they put it all together. So I think the spices in that are these things that I'm talking about, making it memorable and fun, and having it have a personality. Like a lot of content, I think, is just the basic stew stuff. It's the meat and potatoes, and okay, fine, you got the information into my brain, but I didn't like it. You know, I want people to like it and go, oh yeah, and tell their friends about it. You should try this. It's really good. That's how I look at training and development, and where my
it's like getting prepared for a chili cook-off. You can put beans and meat, or you can put alligator in it. And corn, and
you put the pieces together. Yeah, we have the tools. I mean, we all know. I mean, we have tools.
Chili.
Yeah. Alligator. I don't know. I've never had alligator before. It might be interesting.
Gator chili.
Chili cook-offs with some really unique and really
That's
unique.
True.
But they're memorable, right? So
remember that.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So think about spices. You know, that's what I'd summarize that with. It's the little things. Do a little extra. Put a little dash of salt on the top, or whatever. Some toasted Parmesan cheese or something, right? And then you're like, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And test, right? Continue testing until, you know, some things may work, some things may not work. You know, Gator's not for everyone, but
that's right. That's right.
But it tastes like chicken.
That's
I gotta try it now. My stomach's rumbling.
So I've been asking a lot of the questions, Michael. I know you probably have some questions you wanna ask Mike here.
So it was interesting. You talked about getting someone to want to learn.
Yeah.
That was one of the basic points. And we do a lot of research trying to get to the same answer. What did you come up with? What really brought people to the table and say, yeah, I want to learn and I want to learn a lot and I want to continue to learn.
Yeah. One of the big things is just that, again, it's that relevance piece, is that it serves an immediate purpose in their lives or their work life, if we want to be more specific, is that it's something that they can immediately implement and it makes a difference and makes a change, right? So folks, I mean, think about that. Like, we're inundated with learning all of the time. And I know like you, when I try to, when I want to learn something new or I'm looking up something, I just Google it. And and then it's just, there's a neat little snippet or a video, then actually a marker now in the video to tell you in that video where you're going to see that information. I mean, it's getting great. And I feel like as learning people, we should be following their lead. It's like, let's do that. That's exactly what our learners want. Like that quick, just boom, it's relevant, then they can continue with their job. Because one of the things that we talk about a lot on our side here at SAP with the learning group and everybody is that this whole idea of learning in the flow of work, right? Is that it's not a separate from type motion. It's while I'm doing it. Good example of that is when one of my other jobs before I started at Litmus, I worked in an online retailer in the home improvement space, and we had salespeople that were responsible for a million different products, from door hardware to lighting to faucets, sinks, and toilets. Yeah, we sold toilets on the internet. So all of that stuff they had to know about, right? And what was interesting is that they wouldn't go to our stuff because it would take too long for them to find the learning when we first started, right? And they would just Google it, and they'd even go to competitors' websites, and be like, oh yeah, that's it, because it says it plainly. It's right there. There are the specs for that, or here's what it is. Just that idea that it's right at their fingertips and it's right when they need it. So we're finding that people are really focused in on that now. If it's not a deep-rooted knowledge, deep where I got to have this base of knowledge. Right now, it's just those quick wins of going there. Like, Michael, how many people do you have in your phone, right? How many contacts do you have in your phone? I want an exact number, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
Just
a
one,
lot,
you.
right?
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just you. That's it. Just one.
Aw, you're so sweet. So, but you have a lot, right? But how many of those phone numbers do you remember by heart anymore, right? I mean, but I know that I can, like me, I can pick up my phone, I can look at it, I can push my wife's face, and then it will dial her. I do know her number, by the way, but anyway, for the record. But there aren't that many that I remember by heart because we're moving into this different type of environment where it's more access than knowledge. So what we found with our learners is they want that too. It's like, give me what I need when I need it, right? Right in my flow of work, if I'm going to Google it, have something come up that's our internal stuff too, that says, oh, here's what we say about that. Okay, great. Like, put it right where I'm going to be looking for it anyway. And that motivation really comes from them getting what they need quickly and it having a relevant effect, right? Something that actually happens as a result. I think those are the two big things for me on that. What does your research say?
We found with the work that we do too, and not to just come up with just another cliche, but it's really relevant, is what's in it for me? Even before the learning starts, tell me why I need to learn it.
That's exactly right.
99% of the answer is like what your mom used to say, you finish your plate, you're doing it because I said so. It doesn't fly with most people. So they want to know, hey, I'll do this, but am I going to get a promotion faster? Do I get a better performance review? Do I make more money? Do I get recognized by my peers? Does it accelerate me to be chosen as a high potential? People want to know, or is it just plain part of my personal and professional interest?
Yep.
And so I think even before the content gets started, we also see that people have to be sold on, it's not just what I want you to know, but you'll be interested in knowing it.
Yeah, and I think you made a great point, is that, and I totally see that, is that I think that the people who are asking folks to take training too, like people like me, have to be excited about it too. Because I don't know how many times I've run into managers who are like, I don't want to do this, and I would let my wife take this for me because I don't want to, but you just have to just get through it. So what message am I sending to the folks that I'm asking to get excited about it by saying that to them, right? And delivering it in a way where I'm not even interested, because I guarantee that the people that are that report to me are going to care about the things I care about because I'm their boss. I mean, that's the way it is, right? Like, we care about what they care about. And if I don't care about it, then I've immediately set the stage that they don't need to either. But that what's in it for me, I mean, is a backstory, right? And then I always like to tell, like, this is what you'll get out of it. Let me sell it to you. Like, I'm putting on my salesperson hat and I'm trying to sell you a product, right? I gotta tell you why it's going to be great. And then you'll be like, you're more apt to jump into that intrinsic motivation rather than I told you so.
Right.
And people are so swamped, and there's only a certain amount of time. That's one thing we have in common. Everybody has the same amount of time, but it's how you use it.
100%.
And frankly, everyone, whoever you talk to, whether you have children, no children, you're, just starting your career, you're exiting your career, everybody seems so busy. And so I think it is so important that, that, as you said, Mike and Michael, is that you're really explaining the why and the importance and the value at the very beginning, so you can get them excited. Because if they're not excited, it's just gonna, if they have to do it, they'll get through it. If they don't have to do it, they're never going to do it. So it's wasted time and effort on the designer side or your company side or your team side. So you're spending money building this content and no one's coming to it or getting value out of it. So it's really
well
said. And what do you find, also, what are some of the other things? I know we talked about why, what's preventing, people maybe from learning, or, is there anything else besides, not making it engaging enough or motivating them enough to participate? What are some of the other obstacles that you found in your recent study?
Yeah, one of them I think is just access to learning, and I'd actually preface that by saying access to reliable learning, meaning that where they're going to go, that there's something there that they're going to get something out of, that it's simple, that they can access it quickly, that it's not going to fail them. That's a big thing, because I know that a lot of folks that we talk about is just like, if it's too hard, if it's more than 6 clicks to get someplace, it's like, I'm done. Or if it takes more than 2.5 milliseconds for the page to load, it's like, I'm out, right? And I don't want to do it. And I don't have time for that. Going back to your point, Rachel, is that people are saying, okay, I got to be doing real work, right? That's what they'll go back into and default to that. So that was another big piece of it, is just making sure that whatever you're putting out there is reliable, and that it's easy to get to and easy to navigate, whether it be on an intranet, on an LMS, if it's just on Google, whatever, that they can get there. And I think that's why Google is so, back when I was working at that other company, why they used it all the time, because it was so reliable. And it only took them 1 click to do it. They're like, boom, and then all this stuff. Like, what is this lighting? What is this pendant? What are the dimensions on it? It's like, there it is. For us, they would have to get into the LMS and they would have to but now we can deep link, and do all that to the LMS, or put things side by side, right, from Google and the stuff that we have. So we're getting better at that. But that's been a roadblock, is just it taking so long and them feeling like it's a lot of effort, even though it's like 4 extra clicks, but psychologically it's a big problem. I'm sure in your research you've seen that too.
It's true.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, just the reliability of it, that if I go there, there'll be something. And I guess back to that reliability thing also, like when folks build environments and say, come here, this is the spot, whether it be an LMS or whatever, a community, this is a great example for communities and why they seem to fail all the time, is that they're not updated, right? You go there and the last post was from December of 2019. And you're like, if that's the last post or the last news, then right, like why this isn't going to be good. It's like, why am I going to come here? So
that's a really good point, is is making sure that it's up to date and it's relevant. It's funny when you see content that's outdated, well, one, it's kind of nostalgic because you look back, oh wow, we had a phone that looked like that back then, or that shirt was popular back then. So, but that the information is probably not going to be the most relevant information that you need today to do your job, or that's going to help you, maybe this a little bit, but yeah, that could be a detractor from the learner. And also, I think too, we talked a little bit about it, but I think it's important is how you market it, because sometimes people don't even know what's available to them in their own company. Right. So, there's so much, especially large companies, there's so much great information that's hidden, or they don't know they have access to it, not just, from a user or a platform perspective, but just making sure that it's, continuously marketed, and the information is out there where they can know what they may have available to them.
You're spot on. Exactly.
And I think the reliability too, and I know that you offer this, as a central idea, within your platform, is reliability too, is I went there, I grabbed it, I tried it, and it actually worked, versus I went there, I grabbed it, I tried it, and it didn't work.
Yep.
And so being able to rate the content and say, this is, this really works, you should try this too.
Yep.
Now, that's part of that whole aspect. That's a dimension too, so that learners can weigh in and say, this was really good stuff because I tried it and it worked. It wasn't hard to do and I got this result, or it didn't. And entertaining that kind of conversation as an organization and being courageous enough to ask for the ratings, and the polling on all of that is hard.
That's a great point. Because we do that on all of our, like, we have our online portal for people learning how to use our product is called the Dojo, and in the Dojo we have all of our courses with ratings. We turned it all on, wanted to make sure that what our customers and how we're enabling them, that they are telling us with their star rating 1 to 5. And sometimes you see them and you're like, like me, I take it, I get really into what I do, so I'm like, and it hurts me personally, but then I get better. I talk to my therapist and life is good. But yeah, but then we make corrections, to your point, Michael, right? We can update it and be like, all right, something's not working. Let's try to make sure that it is. But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just throw stuff up and be like, good luck with that. And then that's it, right? So that is a hard thing to do, but a really good point to make.
Yeah, it's like that old song, one is a very lonely number. It's the loneliest number that you'll ever. No one wants to see a 1 on a rating.
No.
That's for sure.
Yeah, but it gives us something to do, right? There's an action step to be able to make it better, unless somebody's just trying to troll us, which doesn't happen in our in there. But yeah, anyway, good stuff.
Good point.
Yeah, so
that's good stuff.
Thank you for sharing all this insights around what you've just learned from your community. And I know you're going to be diving in further on some of this at your at ATD coming up here soon.
Yeah.
So you want to share a little bit about if anybody wants to find you, where they can find you, or
Yeah, ATD's coming up next week. So we'll have a booth there. Let me look here. 421 is our booth. Just got all the details over here. And the presentation that we'll be digging into these, there were 3. 421, yeah. There were 3 things we presented here. There's 3 more we'll be presenting, total of 6 at the presentation on Tuesday, at 1 to 2 p.m. in room 355. See, I'm getting them all confused now with all the different numbers. But that's in, if you're out in the Utah area, Salt Lake City, Palace Convention Center, come on out and join us. We're going to be having some fun, and it'll be really fun. The whole choose your own adventure. We're gonna do some special things with that at the beginning. Again, about being memorable and different. I promise you, I won't stand up there and go, in this course you will learn how to. Nah, it'll be fun. You'll have a good time. Thanks for having me. This has been a blast. Great chatting with you and catching up again. It's been a long time.
It's always great.
And this is like kind of the next best thing. If we can't be in person, we can at least at least see each other here. So this is great. Thank you, Mike and Michael. Have fun.
To you, Mike.
High fives.
We'll talk soon. And thank you, everyone, for coming in. It's been a pleasure. Signing off for now.
Take care.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Mike.